Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We're here. We have been prompting you multiple times to be able to bring in this soul essence to be able to share her journey and perspectives with you. And we appreciate you getting to this. We understand the distractions that you have as you were trying to please many and support many. And we value the connections for this because this message is important. So we will connect you in with Anna now. Firstly, I would like to thank you for allowing me to come in today. It is overwhelming to feel the energy here. And this is expected. We all know how greatly dense this planet is, and we commend and thank all who graciously share the energy to love and support all here on Earth at this time. It is no small task, and we understand that many of you are feeling disconnected from yourselves and from your spiritual teams and from us, your soul family. And we, from our perspective, would like to celebrate your choices to empower yourselves as you are doing, and you are focusing regularly on creating a new, healthier habit and routine for yourselves to have a more mindful perspective of living with love and gratitude in your hearts, to be able to love and have deep compassion for everyone's life journey and contracts, and understand that while you may have personal concerns for each other and you can worry about each other's choices, please remember we are all here supporting all. And some of you are over worrying about certain people who you love so dearly and so compassionately and do not want anything of harm to come to them. And we are saying, remember that even some painful experiences are lessons and opportunities for growth. And this comes to bring me, the individual soul of Anna, into this conversation, even though I feel more comfortable talking with my collective as part of my collective. And so I would refer to us as we. I can speak for myself now. And it was an honor and a great, great life contract and soul journey to be Anna, to prepare, to be nurturing and loving and guiding my children, knowing that my children will be important for histories, experiences, to learn and grow from their choices of being parents, and to learn and grow from my grandson. And you know my grandson. And he is all our sons, all our brothers. He is a beautiful soul, just like you all are. And he had such deep connections to be that leader that we all needed to prepare ourselves to be able to empower each other, to be able to have such a profound leader within our family. I was very connected in to my own spiritual teams living as Anna, but I also still needed to live within the society, within the culture, within the means of my life and the times. This is a fascinating time you're living in now. While it is more distracting, seems to be harder for you to connect into your spiritual teams and have trust and faith than it did for us back then when we were preparing for Jesus's arrival. It was a simpler, slower time. We were more connected in, but we were noticing that there was tension, hidden agendas from influences. We had stronger influences that were more predominant, and we were not distracted with too many influences. It was the bigger ones, the bigger kings and the bigger army leaders. I would translate that to you as. And so we had people with strong opinions and people with strong religious beliefs in how to live one's life and conduct one's life in a social behavior that is acceptable. But it was about the mysticism and the mystical ways of living that I felt more drawn to. And so it was important for me to have an empowered sense of self, to be able to empower my children to know their self-value, to know their self-worth. And you can have the best intentions, but if you do not have your own self-empowerment, your lack and limitation can be oppressed upon thy children. And this is something that most parents hope that they don't do, but at some level, you can impress upon your own insecurities and your own lack of inner work onto your children accidentally. This can look like overbearing parents, and this can look like absent parents, depending on what is your inner work that has not been accomplished, overcome, healed, and grown from. My life as Anna was incredibly beautiful and rich in experiences of just being more in balance and peace with oneself, with nature, and seeing everything with beauty. It was such a quieter time and energy. There was such a slower pace. You could breathe and have natural relaxation in your daily lives as you were collecting water and as you were collecting food and as you were communicating and having a stronger sense of community and belonging. And when you could know everyone in your village, you could love everyone in your village because you saw them grow up. You were such a bigger sense of family because you live so closely within your communities. You were all family. And if it wasn't my children or my grandchildren that are from my direct lineage, I had so many beautiful friends who had their own children and their grandchildren that when I saw all, I placed myself in the role of my friends. So some of my friends did depart early, and so I did play the role of an extension of grandmother, an extension of mother to many who were not truly just my birth families. And this is how we conducted ourselves. We took on all roles that were necessary, and we didn't overthink our place. And we always wanted to step in to help and be of service when we saw that things needed to be supported, nurtured, and guided. We had no social boundaries that way. So if I saw a person who needed a parent, or if I saw a person that needed a grandmother, I was there and I loved it. And there was a beautiful respect for all. The younger children and generations did respect the elders because we had wisdom, we had knowledge. We were able to share our perspectives and our experiences of what was the best way to navigate forward through life. We see now from this perspective that because of technology being so advanced, those older generations that are not tech savvy, as you would say, are dismissed as not having up-to-date information or wisdom or knowledge. And we are seeing the advanced souls that are in your elderly generation being dismissed because the social standards of being current and up to date with technology and fast-paced news cycles as being not so with it, or not so up to date, or not so wisdom knowledgeable and aware. And we are saying to you that is a misconsumption, a misconsumption. It is what you could also call is an assumption that does not identify truly to see the soul and the life contract of that being. So we know if you did speak to someone who was double your age, their wisdom and their history of what they have seen would be very insightful, because they've seen much patterns, cycles, and behaviors repeat and repeat and repeat. And they are very aware how humans can, in the name of a nation, kill each other. They're very aware of starvation. They're very aware of poverty that could come quickly. They're very in tune with the cycles of what their lives have already shown them. This is why some choose to lose their memories quickly, because it's too painful to be aware of that when they're still here living. You can become so afraid and so scared of repeated cycles that it can consume your minds. And you're too afraid to speak, because if you speak of your concerns and worries to others, you're just considered an old fuddy-duddy, and you have no place in the current modern society and world. We see that this is a problem in all cultures still, where the elderly are not deeply respected and dismissed and seen as more of a burden, such as a child versus a wise role model factor for your families and your cultures. And so this is part of my message, is that your ancestors living and who have also departed were all trying to help their generations empower themselves, while still trying to process the trauma and experiences of living on Earth, seeing all the free will choices that certain beings and certain systems have been trying to force and coerce society into their own agendas that are not serving their souls, not serving their communities, not serving their soul families. This is not just an issue that you're facing just today. It's not a modern issue. It has gone on for a long time, and we see, and we could say, how society has devolved itself in its connection with each other, including family members. You are supposed to focus on loving each other and loving self, and yet some of you still judge the old age process of the body, and instead of respecting that as wise and wisdomful, you were seeing it as something that is not pleasant and distasteful. So you're dismissing the wisdom within the package. You are judging the book from its cover. And this is, it almost seems from our perspective that the older generations are much more wise to how humanity can treat itself. And so the younger generations are almost being encouraged to dismiss that wisdom, because they don't know current wisdom, what you would call modern wisdom, which is very distracting, very self-serving, and not a soulful way, a materialistic way. And so I could speak about my pride of my entire family and all the other families that I have ever been a part of on Earth, and also all the other parts of my families that I've had off Earth in the many different lifetimes I've had. It is not a it is, I want to say that while I could have bragging grandmother rights that Jesus is my grandson, I still see and value all souls. All of my children and all of my grandchildren are still significant souls who I have equal balance and love to. All our lives are challenging, all lives are purposeful. And while my grandson Jesus had a very extraordinary life contract, we all did to support him. We all did the best we could to empower him, to encourage and inspire him. And even my life contract was in preparation to be able to bring in his beautiful soul, to be able to help inspire humanity. But we are saying to you, as I am saying to you, your grandparents and your great grandparents and those great grandparents of those all had the same hope to empower the next generation, to love, to be best role models. And while that is human ego to think we could be best role models, we judged ourselves for making human mistakes to learn and grow from them, and that paralyzed us in some regards to not make better choices because we were still trying to disempower ourselves with previous bad choices, as our perception would lead us to believe and feel and focus on. And so it is about accepting what has been, learning how it felt to be in those roles and positions, and to explore what the current trends of mindsets are going and how manipulation and corruption has gotten away with itself while it is still an earth experience. You can see the disbalance, the disharmony, and the disconnection that is a direct result from these systems when you're not focusing in enriching the soul to help with that life experience. If that's not your focus, you create other experiences, and while all experiences are purposeful, the soul can feel very disconnected in the lives that they are living because they can feel the density and the distraction away from love. And as they are experiencing interactions with lack of love from a higher perspective, a higher dimension, as it is a 3D existence, this can make the souls feel very lonely and isolated and abandoned, and the whole range and the full range of emotions that one does naturally feel organically in this density. It is significantly purposeful for all. There is no mistakes in all of your feelings and emotions. None of them are accidental. None of them are mistakes. None of them are things you were not supposed to feel and think and be. This is the Earth Project. This was for the full experience of being here on Earth. And it is a unique one for many souls who have a more natural, beautiful balance and harmony planet and way of living. And so they come here to have and be ambassadors for their own for their own home planets. And so they're here for these very teachable moments about how free will planets can get into this predicament. So they are learning and feeling, and it is an experience to learn from, to be very mindful of their own futures ahead on their own home planets. This is a lesson that is not just being experienced and learnt for on Earth. These experiences will be taken and explored and recorded on many, many, many planets as many species would prefer not to go down the Earth road, would prefer not to have such a hard time experiencing 3D. The lessons here on Earth will be learnt off planet to avoid these situations themselves. It is significant. The souls do not naturally want to be here, but this is a predicament that they've got themselves in for those volunteers. All experiences are significant, but many of you would have not wanted to come here naturally if you hadn't have been here to help your soul families, to hold the frequency vibrations while those soul family members were still focusing on life experiences. It is a group project. It is great teamwork. And unfortunately, for some who are just here to lend their frequency vibrations, to be loving beings, to be human, while others are wrapping up their 3D Earth experiences and contracts that they want desperately to have to learn to grow, to be able to teach off-planet civilizations how Earth got to be at this state now. For those planets and those civilizations that want to evolve completely on their planet into the fifth dimension organically themselves, they are wanting to learn how to do that. Not only their guardians, but those souls who want to have these physical lives. This is something that they love exploring, and they want to understand how it can take a whole planet of civilizations to empower themselves enough to lift their vibrations enough to be able to organically shift and merge into a higher dimension frequency. And while some of you can do this with your mindsets, you're not able to do this with your carbon-based bodies. And so those who are loving the design of the humanoid bodies and want to make them be able to evolve naturally, is just as though the tadpole evolves naturally into the frog, just as though the caterpillar evolves naturally into the butterfly. The humanoid bodies are wanting to also evolve that way. It hasn't quite created that step for all yet. So there is tweaking, because you are on a constantly changing planet energy-wise. As the density is growing, the frequency vibrations that we are sharing to you is also changing. And so there is much to be said about what is happening to this planet and how it naturally is impacting the bodies. This is why we have had to upgrade your bodies. It's not breaching your free will. It is helping you, assist you to continue on with your life contracts that you have designed and needed and wanted for this lifetime. So we are able to upgrade your bodies frequently as it is needed, not only to hold the higher frequency vibrations that we are giving to you to be able to help you organically shift, but also to protect you from the elements that could be, in quotation marks, with a human label, poisonous to you. And so we are evolving the planet, no, we are not evolving the planet. That is not possible anymore from our perspective. We are focusing on the beings here. We are evolving. Many of you are not going to New Earth. This is something that you have chosen against now, as you have experienced things from your other parallel lives. And so you're going to do other missions that need a physical body. So you are all very busy. We could say this is a rest period for you before the bigger shifts occur and before you do your other off-life planet experiences after this one. We are seeing some of you are going home to home planets because there has much changes that have occurred as you have had many lifetimes here. And the time difference. Some of your time differences, even though you may have had hundreds of lifetimes here, it may feel like you've only been gone away a few months in your perspective of your home planets. Others have got a different ratio of time. And so when you return back to your home planets, you will see that much time has passed and much things have changed. This is significant. We've gotten into a conversation that's deeper than where we were intending to explore and expand upon today. Jesus's grandmother's life contract was a beautiful one, to be able to empower not just only her personal family, but to empower all in a comfortable position where she felt like she could love all, being that grandmother, that motherly figure. And she did not always want to be in the spotlight. She is saying that it takes many chefs to be in the kitchen. And she says she has been listening and she has been observing much here on Earth. And so she is well aware of the conversations that have been happening with the vehicle. So she is wanting to be current and modern with her dialogue to be able to let you know, all of you. She is saying this is a love hug from all your grandparents who love you, and they love you so much. They see no difference in what you could say is an important role figure, such as Jesus versus all of you. You are all so special. And if you could just see your place in this world to be just as special as Jesus, or just as special as any other being here who had an important life contract. You all have important life contracts here. And you're so loved and so adored and so respected and so guided and so supported, that if you could just trust that, you would release and remove any belief systems of limitations, blocks, and distrust and doubt. And you would be able to honor yourselves, your physical selves and your spiritual selves, with complete honor and love. We are saying this to you. You are allowed to worship self, because we honor you desperately and completely. And some of you are dismissing that. And we know that some of you get triggered by the word worship. We also know some of you get triggered by the word love. And we are saying, please focus on the highest frequency of love you can give yourself. Be reassured you're very capable of doing this. And the more you practice on thee, the more you can return to others and share your gift, share your light, share your love to others. Practice on self first and feel how amazing it feels to be kind to yourself, loving to yourself, respecting self. It is not a bad thing to love self. It is a distraction if you're self-evolved and self-focused only. You need to have a balance for all. And we are saying the more you maintain self and support self, the less you take from others and the more you give to others. And this is something we would like for you to have a good balance with, because there are many that are so hurt that they can't empower themselves through those lessons, through those experiences. We understand you feel that those are the heavier, denser beings that are too draining. And we say, if they're too draining for you, you need to ground yourself more. If they're too grounding for you, you need to only feel what they're going through. Do not identify their own emotions and their own density as your own. Love them. Truly love them. They will feel you judging them being dense. They will feel you resisting to have a connection, to love them fully and completely and utterly. each communication, each connection is a moment for you to love yourself, love your self-worth, and know, are you going to disempower this person or empower this person? There is a subtle difference, and see what those people are seeking from you. Are they trying to disempower themselves by using you, or are they trying to empower themselves by using you? There is also a subtle difference. Our messages have always been sent with love, and we appreciate those who know our integrity and our hopes for you to be able to apply to empower yourselves with inner peace and with inner knowing all is well. All is well. And there are so many soul family members that are off planet that are sending you love always, not just for this moment in time, but for all time. And we say this with so much love.